G'day citizens, welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. Sweating it up.
The duo have struck again for another exciting, thrilling Fix My Fleet.
And our voice in the
And
void.
we got a voice in the void.
Yeah, voice in the void today
Hello.
is Tijayfly. How you doing, Tijayfly? TJ.
Yeah, good.
Is it Tijayfly? Tijayfly. Sorry.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Thanks for having me here, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, what we're gonna do is we'll kick it over to your fleet, and we'll kind of just go through it as we usually do. So let's kick it off to the browser. So this is the fleet that you came to us with, and I guess just maybe we'll start off with the Heartseeker there. So, what was your thoughts behind wanting the Heartseeker? What did you want to do with it?
So the Heartseeker kind of stood out to me as just a special edition ship, and I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. But what I found when flying it is that it can kind of stay out longer and hit harder than the F8, because once the F8's ballistics are dry, the laser repeater's not that great. But the problem with it is that the Heartseeker seems to be made of paper. So I don't use it that often. I tend to just take the F8 out instead.
Two parts just came out of there for me. First one is that's what this ship is as well, then, because it looks cool and it's rare, and that you've essentially just explained what's wrong with the current flight model and why it has to change. Because right now it's this light fighter meta, but there's no armor in the game. There's all these things that are missing, right? And your best bet, literally, for going into fight is going to be to take a medium fighter, right? But right now, it's so skewed towards light fighters, it's just not going to work. And so all these people that are complaining that, I don't want it to change. I'm sorry, it just has to change because everyone else has brought ships, not just you. and multi-cruiser thing. But anyway, Algared, go ahead.
And those Hornets still don't have their armor showing, so...
Yeah. Right. So yeah, shooting the Pirate Gladys is much the same thing. It was because it's kind of cool and rarer.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole fleet is kind of stuff you technically can't buy in game, right? So the Pirate Gladius is a trophy. I did for recent Pirate Swarm. Took out an interest, and that's kind of my trophy for that. I don't fly that often.
F8, just the big guns.
Yep, the F8C, I'd seen at Invictus year after year, and I thought I've got to have one of these. So when it was finally available, I hunted for a ticket for 12 hours or something just to get my hands on one of these.
12 hours? Man, I got one in like 5 minutes. Anyway, right. Spirit.
So Spirit's a daily driver, and it's probably the best daily driver that I've ever had.
Oh, that's awesome. Glad you're happy with it. Isn't a nice little ship.
It does have a very nice tractor beam at the back.
Yes, I tried it out. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. So after a big chat, we kind of found out that his professions were essentially combat was numero uno. Then it looked like it was cargo, and he also had like a side tangent of passenger transport. And then
and specifically for cargo, planetary cargo, cargo to delivering to planets and stuff. So
then salvage. So I essentially kind of reordered that and put the personal transport as number 4, right? So that gave us our kind of like top 4 to work on. So they also what he'd done on our forums is he'd also put 2 alternative fleets that he wanted to kind of like, what do you guys think of this? And so this was one of his first alternatives. And essentially we kind of broke down a lot of it. But Algared, do you want to go through this? Because you kind of went through this more with him than I did. So
so the F8 again is a fighter. It does fill his fighter bill. For Constellation, does fill his cargo transport. The Vulture there does again do salvage, and you go, it ticks all the boxes. But the problem with the Vulture that I always struggle with is it is 2.5 times or 2.5 times less the price of a Reclaimer. You put it, 3 of those is more than a Reclaimer. And yet a Reclaimer holds 16 times the cargo of one of these. And so the second you start talking along those lines, you go, which is the better value, which is going to get me the best gameplay and best earnings in game. You look at a Reclaimer as well, it's 4 to 5 crew. And so if you put every one of your crew, if you've got a vulture for every one of a crew and a reclaimer, you still would only be earning 50% off a cargo, or less than 50% of a cargo that a reclaimer has. So, yeah.
So
at that point,
so Tijayfly, to ask you, I'm assuming this is the Taurus is kind of like an upgraded Spirit, and this is kind of like changing from combat into salvage. Was that your kind of thought process with this one?
So I would have kept the F8 for combat. The vulture was. So this was all within the existing store credit I have, essentially. So it's kind of a compromise.
Yep.
The vulture was my salvage option, and the Connie Taurus was going to be my cargo option, basically.
Yep. All right. That was his first one. This was his second one. So this is a Genesis Starliner that obviously goes into the personal transport rather than normal transport. Reclaimer, obviously upping the salvage game, and you can tell he is a really big fan of the F8. So
of the F8.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Same thing again. Do you just want to talk us through that, or have I hit the mark there, Tijayfly?
Yeah, you're pretty much there. So the F8 for combat, the Starliner for future passenger transport, but also because it currently loans a C2 for cargo, and for Reclaimer because it's the obvious choice for salvage. But this was a fleet that I thought was my ideal fleet until I came and spoke to you guys. But it obviously was not within the existing store credit I had either.
Well, the irony is, like, now I look at these two, it's not that dissimilar kind of from what we've finally recommended. It's just expanded based after our discussions, right? So we'll flick over to the last one here, and some people will go, "Whoa, that got really huge," right? So the two that we've obviously added, and if you kind of look at it, it's your one of your alternatives, and all we did was add a Polaris and a Banner Metchman, which just doubled it.
And people are going to say, hang on, where's the Endeavour? Where's the Crucible?
Yeah.
Didn't want those.
Yeah, didn't
but he
need
did
those.
say, the Polaris is my dream ship. It is an RS, it's a small RSI Idris. That's what I want.
Yep.
And we went, oh.
We're gonna hook him up with someone that can get these for a lot cheaper. So essentially, I think we worked out it's about $690 you can get both of these for. So it really came down to, can he afford that extra cash and stuff? And we've talked that through with him, and he can make that decision on his own in his own time, so to speak. But you are kind of happy with this layout, Tijayfly?
Yeah, I think the fleet is fantastic because I get to keep my F8, which I love for combat. But I've also got the cargo option in the BMM, the salvage option in the Reclaimer, the option for future passenger transport in the Starliner, and obviously the Polaris is something that I wasn't expecting to be able to consider. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And the other nice thing about that is your F8 will actually fit inside your Polaris.
Even better.
So.
Yeah, so that would still be the first one on the chopping block for me. Now you've got a bigger combat ship. You can always earn backwards down to it. And the ironic thing, one of the things that I found really funny to explain to him is it's literally only set, because of the way we can get these through people we know, there's literally only a $70 difference between that F8 and the Polaris. Which is kind of bananas when you look at it like that. Like, why would you be buying this for $70 more when you can get that? So if he has to pick, it becomes really obvious pretty quickly which one you pick. But yeah, but that kind of fits all these needs. It allows him to earn down, and if he doesn't want one of them, he can obviously cut them. So for example, if you're looking at the 4 preferentials, you'd either cut the Lightning or the Genesis, and then he can earn sideways or down into one of those. So he's got multiple options here that allows him flexibility, and it kind of hits all those points. But when he came out to me in Algared and said that's his dream ship, we were like, well, we can make that a reality pretty easily. And again,
because that was if I understand correctly, that was the one ship that you were thinking that's a dream. It's not going to happen. It's a pie in the sky hope.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's expensive, right? $750 ship or capital ship or whatever. So yeah, I didn't think I could reasonably, make it work.
Yeah. And again, like, if you ever want to play solo or whatever, like if you want to go back to that vulture, like that's just grab one of these bigger ones, struggle through a mission, and you'll have the credit to go out and do that mission really easily, rather than going the other way around. Like trying to go from a vulture to a reclaimer is going to be a nightmare, but going from a reclaimer to a vulture, not that big of a deal.
That's what I've always kind of followed from your guys' videos is get the bigger one and then you earn down, right? It makes sense, because if I want a vulture at some point, a Spirit C1, whatever, as a smaller ship, you know, some other fun bits and pieces, it won't take too long to earn down to those in game with this fleet here.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you're walking away from this that you feel uneasy about, or like, have we, as Algared would say, have we led you up the garden path there at all, or are you really happy with how this turned out, and you can now see options at the very least walking away from this? Like I always want people to walk away feeling they have learned and can move this the way they want it to go. So yeah, just to put us at ease and the audience, are you comfortable?
Yeah, exactly. So the options within this fleet are kind of not only, they don't just tick the boxes that I thought I wanted. It doesn't just like tick the, you know, the profession boxes, but it's kind of more than that as well. So, you know, we've added on stuff like the Polaris. We've kept the option for the Starliner. So yeah, it's really cool. I've got more than I expected from it.
And I really want to emphasize that you can chop and change if you need to. So you know, if you don't have the money to go into one thing, you can just chop something off. So yeah. What would you like to hear from people in the comments below, Tijayfly? Is there anything you'd like to hear other people's opinions on in the comments?
I would like to hear people's comments on the F8C. Is it just a kind of a crazy emotional thing for me? But I want to keep that because I saw it in an Invictus. It had the red livery on it. It's awesome, right? Is it just me kind of having an emotional attachment to that ship, or does it genuinely add value to a fleet?
There's nothing to say either that you can't hold on to it until such time that you can kind of turn it back into credit and use it to fill the gaps on war bond CCs or stuff like that. So you can hold on for it for a fair while anyway. But yeah, that's one of the things we talked about with him, because like, again, if you can get it with the CCUs and stuff that we were able to help him get and stuff, like you can literally get a Polaris for $70 more. It's kind of a bit crazy. But yeah, Algared, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below?
Standard line. I know that people are going to be saying we're heretics at the moment because we haven't pushed him into getting an Endeavour or a Crucible. See, we don't do it every time.
Yeah.
But have we led him down the garden path? Have we destroyed his fleet? Or have we given him a good oil, as I usually say?
Yeah. And for me, just the same thing Algared kind of said. But yeah, I don't think there's anything too egregious there at all. The one thing I would say that it is definitely more money he's got to put into the game. But again, as I said, he can just chop one or two of them off and doesn't have to put any money into the game. So, and again, with that earn down approach, is that the right way to go for him? So yeah, I don't know. Let us know your thoughts there in the comments, because it's definitely different to the ones that we normally do. It's probably, and it's actually not a bad size fleet. I would actually call it a medium sized fleet, even at the 4 ship point there, because like realistically, you don't need any more than 1 ship in the game, do you? So yeah. All right.
It's a very nice little fleet. Covers all the bases that he wants. Yeah.
All right, thanks for that, Tijayfly. Hope we helped you out there, and look forward to you reading the comments and getting people to give you some advice there as well. So other than that, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to all those people that went on extra mile on Patreon at the credits end of the video. Sorry, Jayfly, I cut you off there. What were you going to say, mate?
No, I just said thank you. It's been a great experience welcoming you guys to figure this out, so really appreciate your time.
No worries.
Appreciate you being here. Let us help you.
Indeed.
That's what we get out of it, is helping people, believe it or not. So yeah. All right, he's been Algared.
We like talking shit. He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
And he was the Tijayfly was the voice in the void. All right, say goodbye, TJ.
Goodbye. Thank you.
See you, citizens.